and our candidates to please speak clearly in the mic because we are live streaming. Let me see what's next on the agenda. We did the welcome. We did the opening remarks. And so at this time, I'm going to call up Miss Yvette with the League of Women Voters, and she'll take us from there. Thank you for coming.
All right, I didn't know I was going to be filmed today, so this will be interesting. I would have done something with my hair. Okay, so welcome. My name is Yvette Kelm from the League of Women Voters, and we'll be your moderator this evening. The League of Women Voters thanks you for inviting us to help with these candidate forums. Better? Okay. It's very rare when someone tells me they can't hear me because I'm very loud. But we thank you for inviting us to be a part of this candidate forum. The League of Women Voters believes very strongly in the candidate forums because we believe that an informed voter is a great voter. And really, a voter is a great voter. So we appreciate that we're here to help provide information for everybody who is partaking today. And, oh, thank you. And so you know, I did receive some questions online, but we will take questions from the audience. We have our lovely volunteers in the back who have little cards. If you have a question and would like to write it down on the card and then wave it for them, they will come get it and they will get it up to me. I will do my best to get through everybody's questions, but if any of your questions do not get answered tonight, I invite you to speak to the candidates. You can come up after tonight. You can contact them outside. I'm assuming everybody's got socials and or websites of some nature. But with that said, we're going to get started. So we know everybody's in the right place. We are here for the Normandy School Board Candidate Forum. And I would like to introduce our candidates. This is going to be interesting. You have 4 candidates for 3 slots. We have Mr. William Humphrey, and this may not be completely in order, but I think so. Miss Violet Taylor, Miss Monica Jefferson, and Miss Teresa Pearson. The forum tonight will run as follows. So everyone received these rules ahead of time, and we want to make sure that the audience is aware of the format that we do candidate forums. So each candidate will provide an opening statement, a 2-minute opening statement. I have my lovely timer up here, Jan from the League of Women Voters as well, who has this paddle. Don't be scared of the paddle. She will raise it at 30 seconds so that the candidates can clearly see it. I will let you finish a sentence once that hits red, and then we'll cut you off. But if you can just be mindful of those pieces. So 2-minute opening statement. We will then change the order of who answers first as we start the questions. Every candidate will be given a chance to answer the question. You'll have 1 minute to answer the question. At the end, we will then provide everyone 2 minutes to provide closing statements. So that's the flow of the questions and the opening and closing statements for this evening. What we will ask is that we keep all of the applause and outbursts of any kind from the audience to nothing. We are here to learn about the candidates. We are here to gain information about the candidates. In that respect, this is not a debate, so there will be no crosstalk. We ask that you provide your view on a question and not any attacks on any other candidates or any crosstalk in that piece. As moderator, I reserve the right to paraphrase questions because sometimes we'll get questions and they're directed at one person, and we don't ask questions of just one candidate. We will rephrase the question so everyone can answer the question. And I will group questions as best I can as well. But with that all said, I think we're ready to go. Are the candidates ready? Yes, they are. They're very excited. So we will get started with opening statements, and we're going to start with Mr. Humphrey here on the end and work our way on down. We've got one mic or two? Two mics. Okay, so they'll be passing them back and forth, so we'll take a little minute to do that in between. But 2 minutes to Mr. Humphrey.
Good evening. My name is William Humphrey. I'm a current member on the Normandy Schools Collaborative Board. I've been a resident of the city of Belle North for the last 42 years. I've been married for 43 years to my wife, Quincy. We have 3 children that graduated from the high school. And at this point, I've served on the school board for a total of 10 years. I served from 2007 through 2013. I was appointed by the state board to the board once they had taken over the district in 21 and 22. And then I was reelected in 23 to serve a 3-year term, and now I'm back up for reelection. I am committed to the district because I am currently retired. I retired from the Boy Scouts of America after serving 18 years, and I spent 10 years in this community as a professional scouter supporting scouting in this particular area. As we all know, the primary focus of the board is to help us get to a point of moving forward with our accreditation. We have been provisional for a while. Our scores are not where they need to be, and so we're working to move those things forward so we can get to a place that we know that the district is moving full steam ahead on the various issues and goals that we have.
Thank you. Ms. Taylor.
Good evening. Can you hear me? Good evening. I'm Violet Taylor, and I am a Normandy resident also for the past 27 years. 4 years I spent in the Bonita Park city limits, the last 23 years. As of the 26th, unincorporated St. Louis. I am a mother of 4. I have 4 children that graduated from the Normandy School District. Also have one 10th grader here at the high school. And 3 years ago, I ran for the school board because I was concerned about our children in our community. We know that there has been quite a stigma that has been put on the Normandy School District when we lost accreditation many years ago. And so my concern was to come back or come to the school board to try to make a difference. The difference I'd like to make is to see all of our children graduate, to succeed, and to be productive citizens. It's not just about coming to school and getting an education and getting a high school diploma. We want them to be successful even after graduation. And so my commitment is, as I stood 3 years ago and I asked for, an opportunity to be able to serve on this board, I am working along with the other board members and have been for the past 3 years, trying to make sure that we turn this district around. And it's going to take all of us as a whole community to turn the district around. And so I just thank you for this opportunity to even be able to come on tonight, to have an opportunity to even have a desire to run for re-election for another 3 years. Thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Jefferson, to you.
Good evening, everyone. I thank you for devoting your time to come out tonight to hear us share our views as far as being a director on Normandy Schools Collaborative School Board. I am a Greendale resident. I have been in Greendale about 30 years now. I am retired. I retired from Special School District. I spent 17 of the years that I worked for Special School District right here at Normandy High School as a speech and language pathologist. It's wonderful to come back here and see the improvements and everything with the buildings. I have been actively following Normandy School Board and attending board meetings, and something in my spirit just told me you should be sitting on the other side and trying to make a difference. I feel that some of my experiences will help lend to doing things to make things better for the district. I am currently the mayor of the city of Greendale, and I am chair of the 24-1 Municipal Partnership, which supports the Normandy Schools Collaborative. I also, when I retired from Special School District, I spent my last 4 years as president of the Special District National Education Association, which was the largest local in the state of Missouri. So I just think that my main goal, of course, would be to have our students and our district be fully accredited, but also I'd like to strengthen the bridge, if you will, between school and community. And I just feel that since I'm involved in the partnership, I'm able to get a pulse on that as well. Thank you.
Thank you. And rounding us off, Ms. Pearson.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Teresa Pearson. I am a Normandy alum, class of 2005, by the way. I have been a resident in the 24-1 footprint for over 30 years. I currently have a student in the school district. I ran for the school district, for the school board, 3 years ago because I felt someone from the community needs to be a part. And by community, I mean I've sat in various seats as a community member, as a student, and as a parent, because I currently have a middle schooler in the district. I am the first parent to be elected with a current student in 19 years, and the first representative for special school district in 7 years. I don't have a background in education. My background is mostly in operations. I was an operations manager for a Forbes 500 company for 7 years, working with celebrities, and it was great. So I know what Normandy can produce. I'm one of those people. Normandy produced great people, and I want to bring back that energy, that family feeling, so that's why I'm running for a second term. And Normandy is more than just a school district for me. It is a family. The people who, I'll just say, the teacher who was my 8th grade teacher is my daughter's 8th grade teacher at this moment. So Normandy is deep in my heart. It runs in the blood in my veins. Red and green is really dear to me. And that's why I'm here.
Okay, thank you. All right, we're going to move on to questions, and I'm going to start with the questions I received online. Ms. Taylor, we're going to start with you. And what is your goal for Normandy schools?
My goal for Normandy Schools is to make sure that we regain our accreditation in this district. Along with the board, we have been working tirelessly trying to set up plans. We've had strategies, we've had conversations, and so we are working diligently, and I can say myself as well, working diligently to make sure that we do regain accreditation. We know the state that our district is in. We did have a conversation with the commissioner, and so we are aware of what it is that we must do that we can turn this district around. Thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Jefferson.
My goals are to help the district get accredited. Also, like I said, to have a stronger bond, if you will, with school and community. There are a lot of, I guess in my role as mayor, I've been approached by different individuals asking for help and direction dealing with some of the things in the school district, and I'd like to be able to continue to do that, and also to maintain transparency in all of that we do. Thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Pearson.
My goal for Normandy is one, yes, to bring back accreditation, full accreditation, not provisional. When I attended Normandy, we were fully accredited. Also is to bridge the gap between community, family, and the district. A lot of misconceptions is that there's a gap there. There don't have to be a gap, and we just have to figure out where do we fix the gap. We want to bring back, we have a great facility, it looks nice, but we also want to make sure that the behaviors behind it is nice also.
Thank you. And Mr. Humphrey.
Good evening. Thank you for the question. As I think about goals, I think about, first of all, as a board member, we have to understand our data because we have to be making data-driven decisions. And as I think about the goals for the district, the first thing that comes to mind is student attendance. We must work collectively as a school district, as a community, to make sure that all of our students are in place every day, because teaching and learning cannot occur if they're not here in this educational institution. The other thing I think that's an important goal is to pay attention to student discipline and behavior, because that feeds right into school culture. Because if you don't have the right behavior and the right culture, there's often a saying that says, culture eats curriculum for breakfast every morning. So if you come to the school and the culture is not set properly, it makes it difficult for the educators in the building to deliver the quality instruction that they need to deliver. I think lastly, I will simply say this, that
I'm going to stop you right there.
Okay.
Sorry. Last sentence. Okay. We will start with Ms. Jefferson on this next question, and a few of you already mentioned accreditation. There were a couple of questions on accreditation and how you will support the district being accredited, and whether you support a public district or a charter district. Why or why not? We start with Ms. Jefferson.
Okay.
So, I personally, being a retired public school educator, I really don't have much of an appetite for charter. I'm just going to be honest. But we do have a charter school in our footprint, and I received an invitation to appear or to go for an event, and yes, indeed, I did go, because those are our children as well. I really don't, I don't feel that charter schools are held to the same standard as public schools, and I think that's very unfair. So those are my reasons.
Thank you. Ms. Pearson.
First, I would say I do not support charter schools. Normandy has never been a charter school, so I don't support it. I believe that the school should stay a community school. Ways of supporting the community school is continuously doing the work as a board member or even as a community member, as a parent, showing up, making sure that my neighbors are informed, making sure that other parents are informed. But I do not support charter schools at all. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Humphrey.
Well, I do not support charter schools fundamentally because all I see charter schools doing when you're trying to build education in the district is they're pulling away children and resources from the district. Currently, the district is still struggling to come through the financial onslaught of the last transfer program, where money was simply just going out to different places. We're starting to get stabilized, but for the most part, I've not seen any meaningful results coming from charter schools, so for that reason, I can't really support them.
Thank you. And Ms. Taylor.
I also am against the charter schools, because we know with the charter schools, a lot of those are supported by families. A lot of those students attend charter schools because it's affordable, whereas with the public, most of our public schools are being provided by for the government. And so I think if with the public schools, because they have to work a little bit harder to get a little bit more, I think with the public schools, they will learn to appreciate being in it. And so I myself have never been for the charter schools. I do prefer public.
Thank you. We will start with Ms. Pearson with the next couple of questions. There were several questions that came in regarding working together more amicably, that There have been visible signs of disagreement on the board, and how will you support changing the dynamic on the board and working with those that you may not agree with?
In my 3 years, there's been plenty of times where I did not agree with the actions or decisions that were made, but I still stood on my ground. I still stood for what I believe is right. You don't have to, when working with someone, especially 7, 8 different personalities, you don't have to like them. You do not have to be friends with them, but you do have to respect them. You do have to do what's right for the students in the community.
Thank you. Mr. Humphrey.
Can you restate the question again?
Yes, so this has to do with working with those that you may disagree with and providing support and or creating a more positive dynamic within the board. So how will you support changing the dynamic of the board and working with those that you may disagree with?
Well, the first thing you have to understand is that a school board is 7 individuals, and you have to get a minimum of 4 votes in order to move anything in any particular direction. And so even if you disagree with the decision, you have to understand that once there is a board decision, you must accept it as a board decision and support that decision. One of the things that I've done during the time that I've been on the board, I work with a lot around professional development at the board level to try to help us better navigate some of the areas that we're working in. And I think we'll continue to improve as long as we keep open communication and we continue to talk with each other. I think we'll get more positive outcomes.
Thank you. Ms. Taylor.
We have 7 individuals with 7 different opinions, and sometimes we may not agree, but I have always been a woman who feels that if we have disagreements, let's talk it over. Once we talk it over, once we air out all of the difference and lay all of those differences and those opinions on the line, then we have to strive to try to build on our relationship to make sure that even in everything that we do, we are showing leadership. We don't want the community to look at us as though we are in disagreement. And so for me, communication is key. Communication is key in any relationship. And so I think with this board, we have learned and we are learning how to communicate, to talk it out, and then we work things out and we keep moving forward because we are trying to build a stronger school district. Thank you.
Thank you. And Ms. Jefferson.
I think that if, as a board member, we each individually agree that our common goal and main focus should be the students, healthy discourse is welcome, and sometimes we have to agree to disagree, but just know that we all agree on the common goal or the outcome, and that's success for students. And sometimes that means you may have to not take things personally. And everything may not be an attack, it's just something different, a different point of view. But if we keep circling back to the main goal of student success, I think that we should be able to conquer anything that is ahead of us.
Thank you. I've had a request to make sure that the microphone's a little bit closer to everybody's mouth, so just something to be aware of. I know sometimes it's a little daunting to have it that close in. But we will start back with Mr. Humphrey, and building on the question that we just went through, and some of you addressed a little bit in your answers, but expanding upon how will you change the perception that is in our community and speak positively about the district even when you don't agree with everything that is occurring?
Well, the first thing, in order to understand the perception of the community, I think we need to periodically survey the community to get objective feedback around what the concern is. And then once we see that, we begin to make the necessary adjustments. Being a school board member is not a popular thing, because sometimes we make decisions that are unpopular, and you have to be able to support those, but yet, you have to be open, honest, and candid. And so, just being able to be open and communicate where we are and what's expected by the community, I think would help us to better present ourselves to the community.
Thank you. Ms. Taylor.
I believe one way that we can change the perspective is making sure that we are communicating with the community, communicating with people. We have a lot of parents. We have tried several different options, trying to get the parents to come out to let them know that the board is here to make sure that their children are learning and earning an education. So I think it's important for us to make sure that we are available, we are accessible, that we are committed to hearing what the parent has to say. And then when we listen to what they are saying to us, sometimes we have to stop thinking that we have the answer, and we have to allow them to ask questions. And when they ask questions, then we can go back and then we can change what they are asking us to change. And so I think if we can listen to the parents and the community, then the perspective will change as well.
Thank you. Ms. Jefferson. Yes, so where am I? How will you change the perception that is in our community and speak positively about the district, even if you do not agree with everything that is occurring?
Okay. One thing, I think if we continue to have forums that give community an opportunity to come and ask questions and get updates, I think that would help. And the other thing is, if we as a board don't get along or have a difference of opinion, I think that should still be one message, so that the community is not getting mixed signals or mixed feedback. We come up with a decision together. Maybe some didn't want that decision, but that was what was made, and we stick on one accord and speak positivity into our community.
Thank you. Ms. Pearson.
There is a lot of negative notion around the school district, but I believe that as a board, we can ask what that person believes is a good solution, and also promote the positive things that are going on in the school district. Not everything is negative. Some things are a lot of hearsay, but when you promote the positive and ask for a solution, then I believe that's the way to promote the school district in a positive light.
Thank you. This next question has to do with communication and or perception of support of the superintendent. And we're going to start with Ms. Taylor with this one. But there is a perception that the board does not support the superintendent. How will you change that and support the superintendent in their efforts in moving the district in a positive direction?
We support our superintendent. I think the one thing that we really need to concentrate on is we need to make sure that we're able to sit down and have conversations with the superintendent, making sure that he's available to speak with us, we're available to speak with him. We understand what his strategic plan is, what his goals are. Once we sit down and communicate, then I think that will help us to be able to see the vision that he has, because we know that he has a vision for this district. And so, again, I will say communication is key. And so we don't want the community to think that there is some type of a discord. As I've stated before, communication is key. And so we have to talk about things. And when we talk about things, we can get those things worked out. But we are here to support the superintendent. We want to make sure that the superintendent rises to the occasion, supports the district, and also to make sure that our district is moved back into accreditation, because that's our main goal.
Thank you. Ms. Jefferson.
I think that we can support the superintendent by, once again, everybody being on message. If there are some issues that the superintendent may have with the board or the board may have with the superintendent, then again, we should go back to what our main goal is, and that is the focus of the students, and try to work out something that benefits our students. Also, I have to say, and this is not anything personal or anything, but there should never be blind support for anyone. So the superintendent and the board need to work together to be on the same page, and then support should just come naturally. That's what I have.
Thank you. Ms. Pearson.
The superintendent is, oh, maybe I need to do a little closer. The superintendent is our one employee. So clear directives, unified communication between the board should be our directive, because it should be a team of 8. Working together with the superintendent. It shouldn't be the board versus the superintendent or the superintendent versus the board. He's our one employee, so we should all work together. It's one band, one sound.
Thank you. And then Mr. Humphrey.
Well, I do believe that supporting the superintendent is important. I think as a board, we have to make data-driven decisions. When we look at the information, if we see that reading is an issue, when we look at the data for reading, then we need to collectively come together and agree on the strategy to move forward. Because one of the things that happens when you think about the relationship between board and superintendent, it's a very simple but complex process. It's simple because the board's job under governance is to identify the how, the superintendent the what, the superintendent crafts how he's going to do it, and also the feedback system to let us know whether or not it's working. So if we're doing that and looking at student information, we'll get the kind of outcomes we need, because as someone mentioned earlier, we've got to galvanize to a team of 8, not 7 individuals and a superintendent.
Thank you. All right, we will start this next question round with Ms. Jefferson. How will you stand as a district as a whole and not just certain parts of the district? So basically, how will you eliminate favoritism as a board member?
If you look, or we look at whoever is the most qualified, I think that would alleviate a lot of issues. And I think we would all have to do our due diligence in making sure that individuals who are in place are there for a reason, not because they're a family member or a dear friend, but we go back again to the focus of the students and doing what is best for students and trying to support and hire and the best qualified for the positions, no matter who the individual is.
Thank you. Ms. Pearson.
Can you repeat that question for me, please?
Yes. How will you stand as a district as a whole, or how will you help the district stand as a whole and not just certain parts of the district? Basically, how will you eliminate favoritism?
With a district, I don't believe that there can be favoritism. I believe that it's one big, again, you're one big family. So you should support all aspects of the school district when it comes to staff, the students especially, because that's the main reason that everyone is here. I don't believe there's favoritism within a school district. I don't think that you should have favoritism in the school district, because that doesn't benefit the students.
Thank you. Mr. Humphrey.
I would say the thing that's most important is to make sure that we have qualified individuals working in the school district, because as you know, school districts are educational institutions that employ people. We're not employment agencies. And as such, we need to make sure that we have the best quality of staff at all levels working within the school district so that we can get the kind of outcomes that we desire. I personally would not vote for anyone where I know there's favoritism. You know, I don't care if it's your friend, your cousin, your brother, your uncle, your frat brother, it doesn't matter to me. It's the qualifications that you bring to the table that's going to help us move the mission of the district forward.
Thank you. And then Ms. Taylor.
Repeat the question for me, please.
Yes. How will you stand as a district as a whole, stand in the district as a whole, and not just certain parts of the district? Basically, how will you eliminate favoritism?
As a whole, the board has to work collectively. We have to come together, and we have that one goal, and that goal is to make sure that our children are successful. And so with favoritism, if you look at a family, a parent should never favor one child over another. And so favoritism is not a good thing. But what we should be doing is we should be building on the relationship that we have within this board, and making sure that we're using the right leadership. We're leading. We are allowing ourselves to be working together. Favoritism is not a good thing, and so when you do that, even children recognize that, and that's something that we are not trying to do. What we do want to do is we want to let the community know that we are a competent board. We are trying to build on what we have, and we're making sure that we do what we need to do. Thank you.
Thank you. All right. We will start with Ms. Pearson for this next one. What does effective governance look like in a district facing both performance challenges and high student mobility? And how would you measure your own success as a board member?
Ooh, that's a good one. First, board governance, it doesn't step into operations. I'm sorry. Board governance doesn't step into operations. It steps into the process and procedures and policies of things. As a board member, student success is the highest thing for me. I advocate for students on all aspects, not just my student. I do not have a student that is a special school district student, but I am an advocate for special school district students because they didn't have one at that point. But board governance is one that once you become a board member, you have to realize it's not just one vote, one decision, one person's decision, it's 7. And it's more of policies and procedures, not day-to-day operations.
Thank you. Mr. Humphrey.
You know, when you think about board governance, you have to also look at, it was mentioned earlier that there has to be a separation between board governance and the day-to-day administration. We should not cross the line and be into administration. What we have to do is look at our student data, look at the information that's important to us, and one of the things that's important as a board member, you have to be a continuous learner, just as students are, because there are certain times that we need to understand basic trends in education and things like that so we can ask the right questions, look at the right data, and help move the district forward by having a broad enough knowledge base to be able to ask the appropriate questions.
Thank you. Ms. Taylor.
Could you please repeat that, because it was a double?
Yep. What does effective governance look like in a district facing both performance challenges and high student mobility? And how would you measure your own success as a board member?
Governance for me is we are the ones, as a board governance, we are the ones that are to make the decisions regarding the things that should be happening in the district. We are not the administration who is to make sure that those things come to pass. I guess one thing that I would just like to say is with governance, we must learn to stay in our lane. And we need to know what our job is, what we are supposed to do and what we are not supposed to do.
How do you evaluate your success as a board member?
I would say I would give myself a 10 if I'm going to evaluate myself, because I believe that I have clearly shown that I have tried to do the very best that I can for this district in governing and making sure that I'm doing everything that I can to make sure that this district moves forward. Thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Jefferson.
So I too agree that there are clearly defined lines between board governance and the operations or the day-to-day things of the school district. I think that helping with our performance would be, one, to hold each other accountable as board members and lift each other up and support each other. And again, it comes back around to the main focus, the students. I think success would be measured, of course, by test scores, but the level of engagement possibly with parents and community. So I think that if things were successful, we would have more involvement with community and parents and other individuals. And I think we should be maybe hold meetings with stakeholders and other people in the community for feedback.
Thank you. So we'll start this question with Mr. Humphrey. And this is building off of what a couple of you touched on this last question, and it has to do with distinguishing between governance and operations. Will you uphold your role as a school board member by allowing the superintendent and the administration to run the day-to-day operations of the district and act on the recommendations of the superintendent?
Well, I think as a school board member, the most important thing is that we understand our own policies, because the policies provide guardrails for the work of the superintendent, so that once those policies are approved, the superintendent and his administration will then craft whatever the administrative procedure is to deliver on that policy. And so the biggest thing that we do as a school board member is to look at the work that's being done in light of the policy to make sure that the school district is being run well within the confines of the policy.
Thank you. Ms. Taylor.
The key word is policy, and we know that this last year we have based most of our decisions on the policies that have been given to us by the MSBA. And so we are learning that we expect the superintendent to do the administration work, and we will not overstep those bounds, but we will try to make sure that we uphold the policies, because we want to make sure that we are in accordance to what the state board is telling us to do. So we don't want to overstep our bounds. We do want to make sure and allow the superintendent to do what he is supposed to do, because he is the administrator. But it is up to the board as well to make sure that those things that he's desired, the plans, the strategies that he has set forth, it's up to the board to make sure that we understand those, we stand behind him, and we do what's best for our students.
Thank you. Ms. Jefferson.
So I understand that there are clearly defined lines between governance and operations, but part of our responsibility as a board member would be, and again, this is just hypothetical, we don't follow anyone blindly. We make sure that policies and procedures are in place and that they're followed, and we've got a lot of fiduciary responsibilities. It's going to be on us to examine things, ask questions, and get clear understanding, and definitely have a very open line of communication between the board and the superintendent. And that should just flow naturally, and just several check-ins, if you will, and not just communicate when there's an issue that arises. So ongoing communications to make the district flow smoothly.
Thank you. Ms. Pearson?
Can you repeat the question for me one more time,
Yes.
please?
So
Thank you.
how do you distinguish between governance and operations? And will you uphold, along with it, will you uphold your role as a school board member by allowing the superintendent and the administration to run the day-to-day operations of the school district and act on the recommendations of the superintendent?
As a board member, I try to keep myself informed on the difference between governance and operations. As I stated before, the superintendent is our one employee, so I would like to hold him accountable for all actions, good and bad. Clear and precise directions and directives is one of them. Measurable goals. We cannot have goals that are not attainable. They have to be attainable. And making sure that all performance procedures are within the policy of the school district. I was an operations manager before, so I know what it's like to be, not to micromanage, but make sure that you perform the duties, make sure the job is done, but it's within the policy of the company.
Thank you. All right. This is going to be a yes or no question. If you feel you need to expand or would like to expand, please feel free. But we will start with Ms. Taylor. Do you support not giving cabinet members and directors contracts for the next school year?
Repeat the question.
Do you support not giving cabinet members and directors contracts for the next school year?
Do I support not giving? You said it was a yes or no?
You can go yes or no. You
I
can
can-
keep going. I just
I
thought
can-
maybe it was
okay.
a yes or no.
Holding a particular position requires a person having,
Go ahead.
okay.
Please answer. Go
Okay,
ahead.
thank you. Lost my train of thought. They are given a particular job description, and when you're given a job description, the purpose of that job description is that that job must be done. So we know some jobs require contract and some jobs do not require contract. I don't want to say a yes or no to that, but that's my answer. Thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Jefferson.
I don't have an answer for that because I've not been privy to things that have gone on possibly in executive session or closed discussions. And to me, this is something that really shouldn't be asked because it requires maybe sharing some information that has gone on inside of an executive session. And we all know that executive session is just that, matters of personnel, hiring, resignations, retirement, all of those things are to stay in closed session. So I will not answer yes or no to that question.
Fair enough. Ms. Pearson.
Can you please repeat the question just so that I can make sure I'm understanding it correctly?
Do you support not giving cabinet members and directors contracts for the next school year?
I abstain from answering that question.
Mr. Humphrey?
You know, going back to what we understood earlier about the governance role, because I understand what it means to be a board member and to provide proper governance, the question is inappropriate because it is, in fact, a discussion that happens in executive session, therefore is not open for public consumption. So that's the way I would answer the question.
Thank you. All right, we're going to go on to the next question. Ms. Jefferson, we're starting with you. How important is it to maintain consistency on the board as we strive for results?
I'm not sure how important it is to maintain. Would you mean consistency with individuals or consistency with our tasks and showing up every time that we're required to for students?
Let's go with the second one.
Okay. So consistency is very important if we are working as a group to show up for students and to have a district that operates successfully And success can be measured in a lot of ways, financially, the academics, the employees, all of those things are very important. And again, the main focus is students and operating the district and keeping it solvent.
Thank you. Ms. Pearson.
Consistency is the way that you improve things. Consistency, making sure that the policies stay the same for all people affected in the school district. So it's very important. You cannot make change. You cannot make progress without consistency.
Thank you. Mr. Humphrey.
I would say two things. Consistency is important, but also accountability is equally as important, because when you're trying to move a school district forward and you're looking at student data, I keep referring back to student data because years ago I took a course that had an interesting title. It was an MSBA course called The Data Made Me Do It. And so we got to continually look at our data, and we have to understand why we are where we are, what strategies need to be put in place, what actions need to happen to begin to move the data. So consistency and accountability to me go hand in hand.
Thank you. And Ms. Taylor.
Consistency is very important because it means that we don't get to a certain point and then we stop. Consistently means that we are continuously doing what we know to do, whatever that is, whatever we decide that we want to do, we're going to continue to build on that. We're going to continue to strive to go further and further to make it better. If it's something that needs to grow, to make sure that it's growing, and not only growing, but growing stronger. And so that's what we're doing. So we do want to be consistent in everything that we do as a board, and because we're dealing with children. We're dealing with children, and so we have to be consistent. Consistency is very important, and so it teaches them once you become an adult, this is what life is all about. You don't get to stop. Consistency means we're constantly, and we're moving forward, we're striving, we're going forward, and we're not stopping.
Thank you. We'll start with Ms. Pearson for this next question. Attendance is a major concern. How do you propose to fix this?
My proposal to fix that is to, one, have, can y'all hear me? Maybe it needs to be closer. One is to inform the parents on how critical attendance is. I've seen students be late to this very school that we're sitting in at 9 o'clock, and school starts at 7. So I understand that certain circumstances prevent you from getting perfect attendance, but I believe that if we inform the parents on how crucial attendance is in the state that we're in, that it would be an improvement. Also, providing some type of incentive. Who doesn't like being congratulated for doing what you're supposed to do?
Thank you. Mr. Humphrey.
Attendance is extremely important, and I've often communicated that attendance is an adult issue. When children are not at school on time, when they leave early, when they come late, that's an adult conversation. We have to prepare our young people to become adults, because especially at the high school, there was an example where someone came at 9 o'clock and school started at 7. We have 4 years to work with our young people to get them ready to become working citizens, and the best way you do it is to make sure that they're showing up on time and they're handling their business. And so attendance is extremely important, extremely, because everything in education hinges on attendance.
Thank you. Ms. Taylor.
Making sure that the parents are aware of how important it is for the children to not only come to school on time, but to attend school on a daily basis. It also teaches our students that once you graduate from high school and go out into the real world, there are times, if you're planning to have a job, that job is going to require you to be there at the time that you are supposed to be there. I worked for AT&T for 20 years. Their main concern was that you came to work every day on time. They didn't care if you didn't do anything when you got there, but you needed to be in that seat. And so we need to teach our children how important attendance is. This is their teaching ground here. School is their teaching ground. Everything you learn in school is going to help them to be better as adults. Thank you.
Thank you. And Ms. Jefferson?
So I echo some of the things that each person here has already said. What I would add, though, is to maybe see if there are reasons for the lack of attendance and maybe offer services, because we do have beyond housing and other wraparound services that could possibly assist the family with getting a student to school. It may be something as simple as we don't have a way to do laundry, or it's not safe, I don't have a way to get my child to school. Maybe it might require some one-on-one for some of the children or students who really seem to have truancy issues. I think that attendance contracts might be something that we can sit down with families for and explain to, of course, the families and the students why attendance is important, and show that they make them think that they're really missing out on something by not being at school, because school has a lot to offer.
Thank you. All right, we're starting back up with Mr. Humphrey. We do have just a couple more questions, and then we'll wrap up with closing remarks. But for this question, do you believe we should start retaining students who are not prepared for the next grade?
I'm going to answer that two different ways. The answer is yes. However, in order to do that, we need to make sure that we're properly staffed, because there are certain things that happen. When you start to look at the earlier grades 1 through 6, we need to make certain that those kids stay on grade level, because if they don't, by the time they get to middle school and high school, they're going to be struggling. And so from that standpoint, I think, especially when you get to like the 3rd grade, which is the first tested grade, if they're not on level, we need to hold them until they get the requisite skills and move them to the next grade.
Thank you. Ms. Taylor?
I believe I missed the word that you said. Could you repeat the question?
Yep. Do you believe we should start retaining students who are not prepared for the next grade?
I am a believer that we should retain those students, and the reason that I believe so, if that student is struggling in a particular area, and if we allow them to continue on to the next grade, what happens is they move to the next grade, but they never ever learn that particular subject. And so it's important, and I also agree with Director Humphrey when he said we need to make sure that we have adequate staffing, that we have enough staff there to make sure that if we have children that are struggling, put them into a class. We know that they separate them, they do different lesson plans, but it's important to try to capture those children that are struggling. And so for me, I would say yes, because what we do is we pass them along and we keep passing them along, and eventually they graduate. And then once they graduate, they are not successful because there are so many things that they've missed along the way. And so holding them back, I know as a child, which was a while ago, you were held back.
Thank you. Ms. Jefferson?
I do think that students should be retained if they're not making adequate progress, because I see it as a snowball effect, if you will. It's not going to get better if they're not, say, reading on grade level, and we promote them to the next grade, and then we say we're going to stress this grade level academic rigor. That's not going to help the situation at all. And I believe that each and every student should experience success. So if he or she needs to be retained, I think that would help them get it again, because maybe sometimes it needs to, maybe another teacher might help, a different teacher, a different method, so that a student can experience success and not be set up for failure by going to the next grade and then drill down on grade level academics that they cannot achieve success with.
Thank you. Ms. Pearson?
Yes, I believe that students should be held back if they're not getting if they're not understanding the work that is being prepared for them. You cannot be successful in life without learning. You cannot continue to go on without learning things. So we cannot continue to push students to the next grade level without them getting the education that they need. It goes beyond just the 12, 13 years in school. It goes to your life pattern. You have to learn. So if you're not learning, we need to find a way for them to learn so that they can move forward. But I do believe that they should be retained in order to get the education that they need.
Thank you. All right, this will be the last question, and then we'll move into final statements. And we'll start with Ms. Taylor. Oftentimes, candidates get to these forums and say what they think they want everyone to hear. And then once they get into the position, things change. How will you hold yourself accountable as an elected official to do what you say you were going to do and stay on task?
I mentioned it earlier. I will continue to be accessible. I will make myself available. I will be there if someone just needs someone to talk to. And a lot of times we are not able, as board members, we're not able to make decisions about anything. But a lot of times the community, they need to voice their opinions. They need to say things. Sometimes it could be someone else. And so my strategy is anyone that I meet, I say to them, if you have a question, a concern, or a problem, go to the Normandy website, fill out the public comment, come and let your request, your complaint, or your thought, let it be heard. And so I will consistently, and I have stated that, and I've been that for the past 3 years. I've made myself available, and I am accessible, and I am want to be here to let the community, as well as teachers, staff, and everyone else know that I'm here for them.
Thank you. Ms. Jefferson.
So I would hold myself accountable or keep my word by knowing that the main goal, again, is student success. And no, going in, it's nothing personal, no hidden agenda. And if that is the first and forefront in your mind, then you've got your accountability. And it's about doing what's right. And that's all I could say, is having morals and ethics and doing what you told the public that you would do.
Thank you. Ms. Pearson.
I'm pretty much myself. I don't sugarcoat anything. I don't really sell a dream. I live by what I stand by, and I do it. And I hold myself accountable by making sure that I know what are the responsibilities of a board member, and taking the experience from being a student and a parent and a board member. How can I be a better board member? So if I need to show up to different type of conferences or show up to different type of informationals, yes, I will, but I like to hold myself accountable about being informed. That's the main thing, and knowing what my responsibilities are as a board member.
Thank you. And Mr. Humphrey.
I think as a board member, when you talk about accountability, the first thing that's important is anytime you come to a meeting, you must be prepared. Take the time to look at the material that's in front of you, make sure that you understand what the information is, and ask appropriate questions to understand. I think the other thing that's important as a board member around accountability is you have to be a continuous learner and be open to learn things that you don't know that will help you more effectively govern, whether or not it was looking at data, understanding certain trends in education. You just got to be open to learn, because just as students are learning, board members should be continuously learning.
Appreciate that. Thank you. Let's give our candidates a round of applause. It is not easy to get up here and answer all these questions and have everything fired at you while you're sitting up here. So thank you. Thank you for standing for office and for being part of the community. Just a reminder that vote. April 7th is voting day, and get out. We have information in the back for Vote 411 if you need more information. And if you have more questions or if something comes up later that you think of, please feel free to reach out to the candidates. Make sure that you create information for yourself and be curious about what it is you're voting for. So at this time, shake it out. And we're going to have closing remarks. You have 2 minutes to provide closing remarks, and we're going to start with Ms. Jefferson.
So I know time is precious and something that you can never get back. So I appreciate each and every one of you coming here and giving your time tonight to hear our views on certain things. Again, like I said in my opening statement, I found myself sitting so many times in the audience and thinking, well, maybe I can come on board and be of help. So that is why I'm running for the school board. I do believe that my experience as an educator, a special educator, my experience as a community leader by being a mayor and union president, I think I can see views from the teachers' positions, parents' positions, community leaders, and just that's what I think I bring to the board, to help with community and partnerships, transparency, and just student success. And I'd like to consider myself the missing puzzle piece to this equation. And I thank you for your time again.
Thank you. Ms. Pearson.
I guess I'll say that being a board member is more than a position for me. It's about making change. I grew up in Normandy. Again, I am a Normandy alum. So I have attended from pre-K until 12, and I know what Normandy can produce. I want to be part of the team that bring back the big red and green. Whether it's being a board member or being a community member, but definitely a board member. So I'm looking for votes April 7th. It is a pleasure to see the success of the students. I ran into our valedictorian probably about 2 weeks ago, and she let me know that from my time of volunteering at the high school, she was appreciative. Those things like that keep you motivated, because that is our future. The students now are our future, and I would love to be a part of building a great future.
Thank you. Mr. Humphrey.
Well, first of all, thank you to everyone that's in attendance. I think as a board member, what I bring to the table is stable, battle-tested leadership, because I have been selected by my peers on at least 2 occasions to lead the district. And so one of the things I've learned as a board member over the last 10 years, even when I do not hold the title, I understand and know the art of how to lead without being in charge. So I know how to support my board members. I know how to support the board president. Each one of the board presidents, if you talk to them, because I'm the senior member on the board, I invest lots of time making sure that I support them to make sure that they are successful, because when they are successful, our children benefit. And so from that standpoint, as I close, my focus, once again, is full accreditation, improving our student attendance, increasing graduation rate, maintaining safe schools, improving reading and math skills, expanding our dual enrollment and licensing programs at the high school level, and increasing parent engagement. I simply say to parents, we have to figure out how to show up in the life of our children, because when they get to the middle school and high school, they need parents more than ever before. And so we got to make sure that parents are leaning in and helping to develop the children that we know we can develop, because one of the things we've been looking at is the portrait of a graduate. when someone walks across the stage, we want to have the utmost confidence that they have the right skill set to compete in life.
Thank you. And rounding us out, Ms. Taylor.
Thank you. So I have been a member of this joint executive governing board for the past 3 years. I have heard the other board members say that it is more than a job. We have spent many hours, many conversations, many decisions have been made over these 3 years, and we hope that, and I hope that we have done everything that we can to make sure that this community comes to a collaborated community. We want to see the success of our children, and I believe that's the reason that each of us are sitting up at this table tonight. I stated many years ago that I stand behind all the decisions and the votes that I have made. I have continuously worked to try to make sure that we change the trajectory of our district. We want to get rid of that stigma that was out there. We want to make sure that we are trying to reach our parents and let the parents know just how important it is for them to make sure that their children are at school and that they are learning. We're still trying to figure out ways to really communicate to the parents how important it is for them to be a part of this community. Not just the parents, but the stakeholders as well. I worked at Macy's for a short time, and when I would meet people, I would say to them, hey, come to the meetings. And the first thing they would say is, I don't have children. And I would say to them, but you are still a stakeholder. And so it's important. And so in order for us to gain the accreditation, it's going to take all of us to be accountable. In order for us to build a strong educational product, we have to believe that this district can serve the region and beyond. And we must make sure that we have competent leadership at all levels to support the cause of educating the whole child. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Yes, yes, please. Now we can. Yes. Thank you once again for being here and for being a part of this candidate forum. Again, if you would like to ask more questions of the candidates, please feel free and go out and vote on April 7th. Have a wonderful evening, everyone. Thank you so much for coming.
Yes, thank you.